from 3 space expeditions to an Antarctic mission to find penguins, and even a full-scale expedition to recover him, this is Curious George a science experiment? Before you dismiss the idea outright, let's examine the solid evidence supporting it. For this analysis, we assume the movies, shows, and books are canon. If contradictions arise, the book takes precedence over the other two, and the movie takes precedence over the show. On a museum-funded mission to acquire a statue. During the journey, he encountered Curious George, who was captivated by his yellow hat. The man decided to capture George, and although George jumped overboard and briefly escaped, sailors treat him as if he were human, underscoring his unique status. Surprisingly, George quickly adapted to human behaviors, eating with a spoon, wearing pajamas, and even smoking. The next day, George observed the man using a telephone and was quoted as being fascinated and curious. After playing with the telephone and accidentally calling the fire department, George found himself arrested. However, he escaped through resourceful means, climbing window bars, pinning the guard to the wall, and walking across the telephone wires. Meanwhile, the man faced criticism from Professor Wiseman for using museum funds to capture George. The man defended George as a resourceful monkey, sparking Wiseman's idea for an experiment. George was brought to the museum, where he interacted with the dinosaur exhibit before being introduced to Professor Wiseman. Seeing George's potential, Wiseman decided he would be ideal for testing. When George wandered into a spaceship, the man attempted to stop him, but they were accidentally launched into space. After being retrieved by the U.S. government, the authorities were furious with Wiseman. George underwent rigorous training in various environments, rural, urban, with pets, and more, to simulate human experiences. His first mission was to fix the ISS, but with the rocket malfunctioned, leading to a massive expedition to recover him. Frustrated, the government replaced Wiseman with a new professor, also named Wiseman, who revamped the program. In the new experience, George successfully repaired the ISS and was later sent to Antarctica under the guise to finding penguins. The true purpose was to prepare him for extreme climates, like Siberia. Despite government opposition, further missions included deep sea exploration. Eventually, the government ceased all funding due to high costs. This theory explains how the man in the yellow hat is able to afford his lifestyle, why George is treated like a human, why Professor Wiseman changed genders across media, and George's remarkable abilities. It also accounts for his participation in costly expeditions. But does this conclusively prove George is a part of an experiment? The yellow hat seems to be a key tool for controlling George. His loyalty and sophistication appear tied to that hat, and removing it causes him to feel real sadness, not anger. This strengthens the argument that George is part of an experiment. Could this all be a CIA cover-up? It's plausible. The CIA is known for secrecy. Perhaps H.A. and Margaret Ray uncovered the truth, but the government transformed it into a children's book series, shows, and movies to obscure its reality. Where the experiment is eventually revealed, they could claim it was all planned all along. I have presented my case. You may disagree, but if you don't see the evidence, you might be overlooking the CIA's cover-up. Perhaps ignorance is bliss, but now you've been given a glimpse into what might be the truth. If you don't hear from me, you'll know why.